Hello, welcome to the Pillow Talk podcast with Pillow Cube. My name is Will Beck, and today we're lucky to be joined by Daniel Gafford. Daniel is an Arkansas Razorback, an El Dorado Wildcat, and most recently a Washington Wizard in the NBA. So, Dan, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, it's good to be on here finally. We finally got a chance to. So I'm glad to be on here. I'm honored. Thanks for having me.
No, awesome, man. So good to have you. How'd you sleep last night?
I slept pretty good. Didn't toss and turn too much or anything like that, so it was good for sure.
So, what is the average sleep of an NBA player like?
Well, if you're not doing crazy shenanigans night in, night out, then average sleep, I'm pretty sure guys get to sleep around maybe like 10:30 for sure. No
Yeah.
later than 11, I would say. Yeah.
So let's say you have a game and your game's at like 7:00, game goes till 10, then you got to travel that night. When are you getting in? Like, how is the airplane? Are you sleeping on an airplane? Does that work for you?
Yeah, with me, because we just recently basically had this happen. Like when we came back off the break, we had a back-to-back. We played home, had to fly out the same night. I fell asleep on the plane. I slept the whole flight. And as soon as we got off the plane, we got on the bus, stayed up on the bus, got to the hotel, and basically fell asleep as soon as I got in the bed. That's
So you're
that's pretty much the gist of it.
a very skilled sleeper then, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Whenever like I put my mind to like, yeah, I'm just about to just KO and knock out, I'm gonna do that for sure.
Yeah. So what position do you sleep in?
So I'm a side sleeper most of the time, majority of the time, but there's times where I do sleep on my stomach. I really don't sleep on my back a lot, I would say.
So when you say side sleeper, you're like kind of in like the fetal position, or?
It just depends. Because like I try to get comfortable. I try to get as comfortable as I possibly can. So it just depends on really just the type of position that helps me get to that point.
Yep. Do you dream a lot?
Yes, I do.
What are your recent dreams like?
Well, for sure, I'm a superhero in all of my dreams most of the time. I'm doing some type of fighting or I'm doing some type of basketball stuff. It's like all weird stuff that happens. And then it's like the things that happen in the movies to where like you're trying to prevent something and it still happens. You know how you try to throw punches in dreams and stuff,
Yeah.
and it feels like you're punching like with a pillow wrapped around your hand.
Yeah.
So it's basically stuff like that.
That's funny. So how do you like your pillow cube?
I love it. To be honest, it's one of the best things that has helped me with sleeping in general because I'm somewhat of a pretty rough sleeper. But once I got the pillow cube and stuff and finally like laying on my side and stuff and just literally like the space from my head to the bed and how like it's perfect for my shoulder being on the bed and stuff too. I mean, I love it a lot. It's perfect memory foam. It's easy to wash and everything. So I really have no complaints on it whatsoever. The only thing I need to start doing is traveling with it. That's the main thing.
So we're working on a travel bag. So it'll be something where you can kind of like compress it down and then like vacuum suck. So it'll fit in your bag real well. So as soon as we get one, send it out your way.
No, that's perfect.
What'd your girlfriend do when you got the pillow?
She stole it until I got her one of her own. Yeah, she stole it. She likes it a lot, so she has her own as well. And yeah, like I told her, like I'm like, you're not gonna just take mine because they gave this to me. So we're just gonna get you your own, and we're just gonna call it even, plain and simple.
Yep. So, what are some of your favorite basketball moments that you've had in your career?
Some of my favorite basketball moments. My very first basketball moment, like, are you talking about NBA or just like in
Just
general?
anything. It could be a high school game. It could be rec league. I don't know. Whatever you want, man.
So my best moment was the very first time I like actually dunked in like a actual game, which like my ninth grade year when like that was like my first year of taking basketball really seriously. And so the first dunk that I ever had when I first stepped onto the high school court, that was like something that really just stood out to me because I'm like, oh, okay, I'm learning, and I was still wet behind the ears. I was still somewhat experienced, not all the way, but I was still learning the game, and just being able to do something like that, that really just like brought a different side out of me. You know, it just let me know that day in, day out, I could do something amazing with this for sure. And in general, with like in college, my greatest basketball experience was the block I got against Vanderbilt and the windmill right after. That's one of the biggest plays that has been, you know,
So
just
tell me
like
about
put
that
out
play.
throughout like hog Twitter.
So somebody's come up to shoot against you. Are you in the post or?
Yeah, so I can try to give you walkthrough of it. So I think one of the bigs from Vanderbilt, they went to go set a screen. And the guy that actually I blocked, he I played on AAU team with him. His name is Peyton. And he was going downhill. He was trying to shoot, I think, a left hand jump hook, one of the two. And I was right there, timed it perfectly, got the block. And it was almost an out of bounds call. And we saved it. And I was like one of the first guys down the floor, even like as all of that was going on. I recognized that they saved the ball. I just took off running. And I was like one of the first guys down the floor. As soon as I caught it, I had a wide open lane and I just, did what I had to do, show my athleticism and windmill the basketball.
So you went for it. So when you windmill dunk, like what percentage of the time do you mess that up? Do you ever miss those?
It's rare that I miss those. The only time I say that I would ever miss those is if I try to dunk it too hard. That's the only reason.
Yeah. So that's 100%. Because to me, I'd look at that and be like, "Oh man, I'd mess that up." But So what's the your favorite dunk you've ever had?
Favorite dunk I've ever had, I would say in college against Tennessee my freshman year. It was the first SEC game of the year that year, and they came out aggressive. They were a real good team. They had a lot of good guys on that team, a lot of size too. So they were real physical, aggressive, and stuff. And for me to be able to do this at the end of the game, and it was the dunk that put us up by one, like close to the last couple of minutes in the second half of the game. So I dunk it, and the crowd in Bud Walton goes crazy. Bud Walton is known for just like crazy throughout the building, like on the outside and the inside, and the roof just exploded as soon as like I threw the dunk down. And I'm a big energy guy too. I do all my screaming and stuff, and as soon as I screamed, the crowd screamed. It was just a real big moment for me because I've never really experienced like a loud crowd like that. I've only seen it on TV and stuff. So being in that situation and being in that position, it was just like I felt like I was dreaming.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's something magical about a dunk that just like gets everybody excited. And then when you I actually remember my first dunk that I ever had in a game, and it was like just like this unbelievable like energy, like, oh, I own somebody,
Yeah. You can it's either you dunking by yourself, nobody's around the rim, or if you catch a body and you dunk on somebody, that's what really just brings the energy out. You gotta scream at somebody's face. Sometimes you probably even have the thought of pushing them down. So
yeah. So couple of my favorite dunks that you've had. You had an alley-oop from Zach LaVine where you caught it from about 12 feet out. And do you remember this dunk? It was against Portland Trailblazers?
Against Portland.
This is a few years ago.
This was my rookie year, right? Was it a home or away game?
Oh man, I don't even remember. I'd have to look it up. But you had one from LaVine where you took the alley-oop with one hand and flushed down, dude. It was.
Oh no, that was against Milwaukee, I believe, at home. That was like I think my first game of getting like full NBA minutes at the time because before that it was kind of like back and forth, wishy-washy. I was in and out of the G League and stuff, and so the whole scenario before that, I had like 2 games with the G League. So I played one game in against Cleveland's G League team, had a day in between, played the Long Island the next day, and then I had to fly back to Chicago to play the day after that. So I had like 3 games in 4 days. And so for me to come out that game and catch the lobs and stuff and do all that stuff that I did against Milwaukee, basically my first game back with the actual team was amazing because I'm like, man, I'm shot, but I got to come out and I got to be able to try to do something to help the team win,
Do you remember a dunk that you had over Kyle Kuzma? He tried to.
Yes, I do. I remember that. I remember that. I remember that perfectly because it was just recently, like the last year before all the trades and stuff happened during like this recent off season. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, I remember that fully.
Now, as teammates, do you ever rib him about that?
I haven't. We've had a somewhat of a conversation about just like, the Lakers and when he was on it. And I
Uh-huh.
asked him, did he remember the game? Because I was just going to ask a different question. I wasn't going to ask about me dunking on him. And he just brought it up. He was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, you remember the game that we had played against y'all close to the end of the season? He was like, yeah, we dunked my ass. I was like, nah. See, I wasn't even going to bring that up. But now that you bring it up, we can talk about it. Okay, cool.
Oh, that I think that's my favorite dunk that you've probably had. You also had one where Satoransky threw a lob to you and you dunked over Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yep, against Dallas. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that one. That was
So
I think that was in Chicago actually. Yeah, that's when I had started get to the point where I was beating my I used to beat my chest a lot.
yeah.
And that was close to the end of the season too. Yeah, that was a real big play for me as well.
Yeah, those ones when you catch a body, that's the best thing. There's a sports writer named Rob Perez who does this thing where like every time somebody dunks over somebody, he adds them to the
Mhm.
graveyard, and he has this little graphic where he like throughout
Yeah.
the whole season puts people in the graveyard.
No, I know what you're talking about. I've seen that actually. No, that's
Yeah,
funny.
that's my
Yeah, that's real
favorite.
funny. Now,
So
see, I'm not gonna get to the point where I do anything like that. But when it comes to the time that I have to, bring the cat out of the bag, I will.
so have you kept track of all the different people you've dunked on? Like you have like a list of like, hey, I gotta get this guy, I gotta get that guy, or is it just kind of
Uh, I haven't. I don't really have a list or anything like that. I just go by the flow. But if I get dunked on by somebody throughout the season, I always try to make it a vendetta to try to get them back for
yeah.
sure. Can't let you go out without. I got to at least dunk on you once. It doesn't matter the outcome of the game.
Yeah, we gotta make things right. So
Yeah, exactly.
what's your favorite block that you've had of all time?
Favorite block all time. Um, in high school, and this was against one of my teammates too. I'm not gonna say his name because he might catch this sooner or later. But he was coming down. We played Hot Springs, and it ended up them calling a foul on me. But it was a crazy block in my opinion. He was coming down. He was trying to dunk on me. So I met him at the rim and I
Mhm.
blocked it. You know how somebody shoots and it gets stuck between the rim and the backboard, kind
Yeah.
of like a gutter ball. Yeah,
Yep.
I
Mhm.
blocked it and basically made it do that. And they called a foul on me right after. And the whole like gym and stuff were just like basically about to throw stuff at the ref and stuff because I mean it was a clean block. There was no body contact. Got it with all five of my fingers and put it literally like stuck in between the rim and the backboard. So that's one of my best blocks all time. I got a lot of them to be
Yeah.
honest. I'd say the one in the league that I have that's my favorite is the one I got against Sergi Ibaka. I thought he was gonna like finish it over the top of me, but I can't believe I got the block. It's when he was with Toronto my rookie year.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Another good one, Finney Smith. With the
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember this block, but you went up and blocked, and you both met up, and then like you hit it so hard that like knocked him back, and then you knocked backwards.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was the one last year.
Hmm.
I my stand too. I didn't think I was going to get that one either because I was actually dead tired that possession. Okay, we good.
Okay, you're back. Um,
Yeah, sorry about that.
no worries, little technical difficulties, but we can do that. So, um, what's the most exciting
Yeah,
win you've had in your career?
most exciting win. My freshman year in college,
Hmm.
we played Florida in the SEC tournament, and it was like our first time beating them, um, Arkansas wise in a long time. And it was
Hmm.
just a lot of hype around it because it was Florida was a real good team at the time, and we came out on top with that win, and it was just a lot of emotion in the room. Those guys crying because of the simple fact that they were there and they played Florida before and they didn't get a chance to be able to experience a win over them. So my freshman year in college, we made that happen. It was just a lot of emotion in that room because we went to the semis at the SEC tournament and stuff. It was a tough outcome the next day because we lost against Tennessee, but just to have that momentum going into the SEC tournament and going into the semis too was real good for us.
Yeah, awesome. So, let's talk a little bit about your college career. Like, what were things that were really hard for you in college? Like, were there struggles or things where you're like had to like learn and develop your game or?
Oh yeah, for sure. Basketball and off the court. I always try to basically find ways to really just lock in and I think I did it again. Jesus Christ. Really just lock in and find ways to mature and really just go in and just work on my skill set, which I had troubles. I had ups and downs with that. I'm not gonna lie. I
Mhm.
hold myself accountable because I was, a little immature and a little irresponsible when it came to the basketball side of it and off the court too. So really just those are one of my struggles. Those were one of my struggles, just like the maturity wise and having the responsibility of going in and working on my craft, having the responsibility of going out day in, day out and going to class and certain things like that. Whether if I was, going to the league or not, that's something that I wish I could have done better for sure.
Mhm.
That being the main thing. But I would say those are the two things that I really struggle with.
So what changed? Like what helped you grow up? Like what changed your mindset around like working on the game?
Well, getting into the league and stuff, I knew for a fact that with this being my only thing that I'm doing day in, day out, I ain't got to worry about classes or anything like that.
Mhm.
I for sure need to make sure I have the right mindset to go work on my craft. And the person that helped me with that is the person that's in this room with me right now. It's my fiance. She was always, she was just like a coach when she didn't have to be a coach.
Mhm.
Really, she always made sure I was in the gym. She always made sure she found ways to get me in the gym and certain things like that. So she helped me out a lot for sure. She really got my mindset fixed from what it used to be.
Yeah, what did she tell you? I mean, what did she do to you? Was she like, "Hey, you need to get in there and just do this?" Or was she, just like kind of like help you understand like what you needed to do? I mean, what was her how'd she
No,
make that impact?
she takes after her mother, because she played basketball all of her life,
Uh-huh.
basically, and she used her basketball habits and stuff and used it towards me and got me in the gym playing it simple, no matter if I wanted to or no matter if I didn't want to play.
Mhm.
And whenever I didn't want to, she got me out of the bed, got me in the gym, and we worked out. When I did, she was all ready for it and
Mhm.
stuff. And that was just ways of getting her back accumulated with the game because she wanted to do that. So with me being in the position that I was in, I was slowly learning that, hey, this is gonna be good for both of us because I'm working on my craft and she's getting back accumulated with the game as she wants to, whether she's playing or whether she's coaching. It's something that's helping her be more in tune to the game, so she doesn't lose her touch, I would say.
Yeah, so you guys go in the gym, the two of you, and you're like doing drills together and she's kind of like guarding you in the
Oh
post.
yeah,
Like
for
how did that
sure.
look? Yeah.
She's either rebounding for me, holding the pad when I'm posting up, putting me through ball handling drills, doing all basically the little things that I would say a regular trainer would do.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Hmm.
It's nice to have people that are like in your corner who like because there's those moments where you like nobody sees the work,
Right.
but there are people that are with you. So
Exactly. Yeah.
so um how did it feel to get drafted?
Oh man, it was a dream come true
Uh-huh.
because you spend most of your time working to get to a point in your life, and you finally get it. I understand the things after that comes. You have to work to be able to build on top of that, but just finally hearing like your name being called and seeing just like the things that you usually would see guys go through on TV and stuff as you're younger and stuff, and me getting full understanding of just like the draft and little by little working my way into it and finally hearing my name called, it was a bunch of emotions and it was just a relief because now I'm in a position to where I can turn my life around completely.
Mhm.
And so um that moment on, it just hit me that yeah, I can actually be something for sure in this league if I just put the work in for it for sure.
Mhm. So a lot of people get drafted, but maybe half or less, probably less of that than that, actually
Mhm.
like starts having like a real impact in the NBA.
Yeah.
What do you think separates the people? Because obviously some people might even be more talented when they get drafted than others
Mhm.
who are drafted way later, but then they kind of find a way to make it. So like, how do you
I would
account
say
for
it's
that?
all about your I would say it's all about your work ethic, you know,
Hmm.
not being satisfied with, the situation you're in because day in, day out, you always have to be ready when your number is called. That's one thing that I kind of stood by my first year, especially when I was back and forth with the G League and stuff. I wasn't getting playing time and I was never satisfied with what I was dealing with. Times were rough at the time when it came to the point where I'm like, yeah, I want to be out there on the floor and I want to be in those positions to where I can try to help the team win in certain games little by little. And just not being satisfied was one thing, like I said, that always stuck with me. I woke up every morning and I just tried to figure out some type of way to be better.
Mhm.
Plain and
So
simple. Mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that.
one of the things that you mentioned was like not playing a lot and how that was like a
Mhm.
challenge for you. Like how do you get that mental aspect of the game where you're like able to push through that and stay ready and try to get better even though you're not getting attention or you're not getting time?
Mhm. Well, the main thing I try to do is be a good teammate, no matter
Mhm.
how much playing time that I had, because that brings some type of positive viewpoint to the game, whether you're playing or whether you're not playing. And when I came to the game all the time, it was always never known if I was going to be playing or not, but I always was ready. I was always doing things behind the scenes to keep myself in the position and in the shape and in the right mindset to where if I were ever my number was ever called on the floor, I would come out and I would do what I had to do.
Yeah, I love what you say about being a good teammate, because that's the part where you have to be like totally like, I'm not playing, but I'm going to support and
Mhm.
I care about winning and I care about my teammates. And
Mhm.
but it does keep that positive vibe for you. So it's like
Yeah.
you're not feeling negative. And so often I think we let ourselves get negative and like start tearing
Right.
ourselves down in our own mind, and
Yeah. Yeah. That's something that can really happen for sure because I've been on both sides of it. I've been on the positive side and I've been on the negative side for sure.
Mhm. So what did it feel like to be traded?
Well, with it being my first time, it was a lot of emotions. I didn't think it was going to happen my second year,
Hmm.
but I mean, I understand that this is a business and it was just a business decision, I would say, on Chicago's end. And with me, it helped me out a lot responsibility wise because it was at one point in time where I was on my own for basically the rest of my second season and stuff because my fiance, she was back in Chicago taking care of the housing and stuff. And I had to
Hmm.
go basically and go play for another team literally the same day.
Hmm.
So being in that position, it really helped me out a lot. It helped me with my mindset. It gave me another chance and opportunity to reshape my career, I would say, at an early stage in my career. So
Hmm.
really just being traded, I would say is one of the best things that could have ever happened for me in that situation.
Were you mad when it happened?
No, I wouldn't say I was mad. I had more of an understanding mindset than anything, I would say.
Yeah, I'd be mad though. I'd be like, you don't believe in me? Like you think that guy's better than me?
No, that wasn't one of the things that I, really would think. They wanted a certain piece to come to the team. And so it took them to having to sacrifice, certain parts of the team that were already there to get something new to that team. So I mean I understood because they
Hmm.
put me in a better position for my career and they're in a better position now.
Yeah. Who are your favorite sports writers?
If we being honest, I really don't pay attention to them. I really don't pay attention to sports writers or anything like that.
Do you know
If
who
we being honest,
Zach Lowe is?
I do not.
So Zach Lowe, I think he's my favorite NBA sports writer, but he's on
Mhm.
ESPN. He has a podcast called The Low Post, but he
Okay,
talks about you a lot. And he's like the first person
really?
that like, yeah, he's the first person that I was like, oh, I haven't heard of Daniel Gafford. And then he like talked about you about like just a lot of the impact you were making like early when you came to
Hmm.
Washington. And so
Hmm.
that's kind of how I like really discovered you. And I was like, oh yeah, Zach Lowe. But
Okay.
he's one of those guys that actually gets in and he digs and he looks at the NBA game. He's watching a ton of film and he
Okay.
notices like every player in the league that's playing, not just like talking about LeBron or talking about Steph Curry or whatever. He's like, hey, this guy, and so like he was the one that kind of like helped me catch, see what you were doing.
Okay.
And
Bet. Yeah,
so
that's dope. I will look into him for sure.
yeah,
Then.
Zach Lowe, man. If he's like, if I
Bet.
was an NBA player, I'd be like, this is the only guy I listen to. Like, he's really sharp. So, who was your favorite NBA player growing up?
Favorite NBA player growing up was Kobe for sure. I liked
Hmm.
Blake Griffin a lot too. He's the one that I would say was a big influence on me when it came to athleticism. I
Yeah.
always wanted to shape my athleticism around like how he was because he was a high flyer and I mean the impact that he had on the game, he always came out with a lot of energy when it came to his dunks and stuff.
Hmm.
So him and Kobe just because of just like his demeanor and how when he's on the court, it's all business
Yeah.
And when he's off the court, he's all business. So on and off the floor, he held himself to a standard to where like he's not taking no shit from anybody.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. And when he came out on the court, he was going to do the things that he had to do to help his team win. So, and he had some of the leadership. He had, I would say the courage to do like the crazy things in the games that he did, the game winners that he made. He came in and he let everybody know, yeah, I'm the Black Mamba, and you're going to basically abide by what I got, what I got going out there. Plain and simple. So yeah, Kobe was, a real big influence on me because of just like how much he worked and the little things he did off the floor and how, he paid attention to his family and just little things like that. That's what sticks out to me. And I always go by one of these quotes he said, I think, and I still can't remember after what game he said it was, but they asked him, what is it to do now to be able to get back to this position in your career? And I think it was like after a finals loss. I can't fully remember. And he was like, work myself to exhaustion. And for sure, like, you go through a full 82 game season plus the games after when you make the playoffs and stuff. And you have that same mindset of like, I want to get back to this position. So I'm not going to go take no vacation. I'm not going to go, just go somewhere and just sit. I'm going to go work on my craft. I'm going to go work on my body. I'm going to work on my mind to be able to get back in the same position that I am right now or even further down in my career. So that's one of the things that for sure stuck out to me. And that's one of the things that I would say is the biggest means to me. Rest in peace to him and his daughter and all the other people that died in that helicopter crash. It was a real sad day for the basketball world in general because of just like the impact that he had on the game for sure, But yeah, he was like one of my favorite players growing up.
Yeah, man. I was like 2 years ago, my son is 10. And I remember like just seeing it on the news or seeing it on my phone, and I like turned on the TV because I like couldn't believe it was real, And then it like going to my son and be like, man, Kobe died, and I just like started crying. And I like didn't even like Kobe as a player, man, but it's just like
it's just tough because of what he did for the game and what he did just around the league in general, and it's just tough to see somebody like that go so soon.
It's crazy. So Blake Griffin, have you told him like the kind of that you looked up to him and the kind of impact he had on you, or?
I ain't really got a chance to. It's a lot of guys in the league that I want to do that for, but never really got a chance to like walk up, talk to them, and be like, hey, you inspired me. You are one of the big reasons that, I work to this day because of just like the impact that you have on the game and stuff. You inspired me to get up and go work every day and really just put my head down and go, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you'll have to tell him. If I ever see him, I'll tell him. Just kidding. What are some of the challenges of being in the NBA that people don't think about or talk about? But it's like if you're in the league, you kind of understand things a little differently.
Biggest challenge is being in the league. You always gotta pay attention on the eyes that are on you. You always gotta watch what you say. You gotta watch what you do. We're still human beings, but us being on this platform that we're on, we can be on the news just like that, snap of a finger. No matter what we do, it can be small. It can be as small as wearing a shirt outside and around like a whole bunch of people, like wearing no shirt outside around a whole bunch of people. Plain and simple. It can be as small as that. I would say that's the biggest challenge because you still want to live everyday life as a regular human being, but you really can't because of the things you're doing professionally. So I would say that's one of the biggest challenges for me in general, because if you get recognized and somebody, say, hey, oh, there goes Daniel Gafford and he's out here doing something he has no business, boom, you can get recorded and now it's on TMZ. So, I would say that's one of the biggest challenges for sure.
Yeah. Is it worth it? Like having to go through that and having that like kind of that fame challenge, like
give me one second. You said, is it a challenge?
Well, I was saying like having that, like, not being able to like having to, I guess, not make mistakes and having to be on your game all the time, like outside of basketball, like, is that worth it having to put up with the fame?
It's 50-50 in my opinion, because, you want to live everyday life as, a regular human being, but at the same time, you want to be in a position to where you stay professional so you can't have any type of bad juju around your name.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So I would say I'm a bit 50-50 on it
Yeah.
because I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, we are human, but with us being, some of the best players in the world, you always have to watch what you do off the court so it can help you on the court.
Yeah. Well, I got a couple of silly questions for you.
Okay.
First, anybody else on the Wizards sleep on a pillow cube that you know of?
I do not know if anybody does. I have not seen anybody. No, I didn't.
Isaiah Todd?
He does?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I think we had a conversation about it. If I remember correctly. I think I either told him about it or he told me that he had one or something like that. I can't fully remember. But I do recall him saying something about pillow cube.
Yeah, I think there's another player. I'll have to look up on the roster and see if I can think of
Okay.
who it is. I think Brad Beal's wife sleeps on one.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
So Drew Hanlon, who's Brad's trainer, skills coach, he's a friend of mine, so I got him one. And then Contavious Caldwell Pope.
Oh, he does pillow cube too?
Oh, yeah, I sent him a pillow cube. I'm pretty sure he sleeps on it.
They is holding out on me, and nobody told me about this.
And then Joel, do you know Joel Ayayi?
Yep.
Pillow cube. Yeah. So
that's tough.
we're trying to trying to get the pillow around the league.
Family out here. I love it.
So who's your favorite like celebrity or influencer that you follow?
J. Cole.
Okay, J. Cole.
Real big influence on me because I don't know. I've been liking his music ever since high school and stuff, and listening to his music has always put me in a calm state. Help me get my mind right, kind of motivate me to be better in life, and just realize it was a song that he has. It's called "Love Yours," and it says, "No such thing as life is better than yours." And so that's one of the songs that I would say I listen to from time to time again, just to reset myself and just bring myself back down to earth. Because I mean, every day everybody has problems and stuff, and I can't be out here just thinking like, oh no, my problems are way more bigger than everybody else's in the world.
Yeah, it's easy to be like the grass is greener for everybody else, and I love that message of that song. So, what's your favorite type of cereal?
Favorite cereal? Man, it's been so long since I've had cereal, like my favorite cereal. I can't even remember.
Dude, I like Golden Puffs.
Golden Puffs?
Golden Puffs. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit lame now. I don't eat like the crazy sweet ones now. The craziest things I eat now is like Honey Nut Cheerios. That's pretty much it. But I would say the ones that I usually eat all the time, Apple Jacks. Apple Jacks are for sure.
Yeah,
My bad.
I love Apple Jacks.
Like, yeah, Apple Jacks will get me through a week, a year, a month, all of that.
Oh, that's funny. What's your favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show? The Boondocks.
Boondocks.
Adult Swim. Yep.
I never even heard of that.
You never heard of Boondocks?
No,
you got to go watch it. It's a real fun. It's like an adult cartoon,
Okay.
but it's a dope TV show. It's kind of like anime style. It's just somewhat of decent like fight scenes and stuff in there. But all in all, it's just funny in general,
Okay, I'm gonna check that out. And then who's gonna win March Madness this year?
March Madness, Arkansas Razorbacks.
Dude, they're doing some good stuff over there. They took Auburn down.
Yeah, we trying to get back to where we were last year and a little bit further than that,
Yeah. Do you know the coach down there, Eric Musselman?
Yep. Yeah, I
he-
know. What you gonna say?
I say, how he hurt his shoulder?
How?
So
no. Yeah, he told me. I think he took a charge on one of the players and they fell on top of him.
Yeah. And you know what pillow he started sleeping on, right?
He started sleeping with a pillow cube?
You ask him.
That's dope. I'm gonna have to ask him about pillow cube. See what he says.
Yep. I'm rooting for Arkansas. That's kind of my personal choice this year. I've been watching them a lot. I watched that game against Auburn, and they've got some guards who can hit free throws. And I think in the tournament, that's a huge deal, and it just seems like they can kind of control the game a little bit. I like the way they played.
No, if they do real good in the SEC tournament, it's going to give them a lot of momentum going into the NCAA tournament. I got a lot of faith in them. The team is real good. They got a real well-rounded team. Musk, he came and basically did a lot of things, and changed a lot of things there. Turned the whole program around, I would say.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining me on the podcast, man. It was kind of cool
Yes,
to
sir.
hear a little bit about your story, hear about Apple Jacks, and just kind of hear, what you're doing. I look up so much to you for getting into the NBA. The thing that people forget is like the people who are in the NBA have like put in so much sacrifice, so much time and
Right.
work and effort and commitment to get where they're at. Like you are the elite of
Yep.
the elite in the world of
Right.
basketball. And as somebody who just played in high school, who like loves basketball, but like could never like do everything to get where you got, like I just have so much respect and great work on that, and great work
For
on
sure.
being a family guy and having a great fiance there. And I'm excited to see kind of where the world takes you. So
Man, most definitely. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on too.
yeah, no problem, man.
Mm.
You've been the best. So